Hey, man.
Hey, Dave.
How are you?
All right. How are you, man?
Shit, I should have worn my Armored Saint shirt today.
Yeah, man. I saw that. I was like,
I like it.
brother.
That's
Uh,
good.
I
Yeah.
love it so much, man. Had a chance to talk to Gonzo not that long ago, and
Yeah, nice.
sweet guy, man.
He's awesome. And funny, I just saw a great new article too with Joey Vera. Hey, dude.
What's going on?
Jeff, what's happening?
What's happening, Scott?
How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. Got my iced coffee and I'm raring to go. Oh, look at your Armored Saint shirt. Awesome.
Yes,
I know. I said I should have worn my Armored Saint shirt. We could all have an Armored Saint shirt on today.
I was just chatting with Joey Vera the other day, but I haven't spoken to him in years.
I was just saying, there's a great article with him right as you were coming on. I was just saying there's a great article with Joey in Bass Player magazine this month. It's great.
Nice.
I know. He's so good and so fucking good. What a great guy, man.
All those guys, man. And, like I said, I did the thing with Gonzo. I did the interview and everything. And he hooked me up with his mom makes like hand crochets hats and stuff in their home and sells them on Etsy, man. And she's the sweetest lady. She sends little candies and thank you notes and everything. I mean, they're just the sweetest family, man. They're just
truly an Armored Saint.
Yeah, no doubt.
Nice.
And I got to praise you. I mean, dude, out of everything I can see behind you, Scott, the one Terence Trent D'Arby album is sticking out, and I got to tell you, I'm one of the biggest Terence fans on the planet. I love that guy, and I love that record.
Yes, it's so great, that Vibrator record and the first one. He's just and on. The guy's
even the Sananda stuff. I mean, I love it. He's one of my biggest influences, of the current contemporary world, because most of my influences go back to like Sam Cooke and Steve Perry, Freddie Mercury. But as far as like the modern day guys, Terence was the man. Yeah,
no doubt.
Hey, he's singing In Excess there for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually good.
He was there for a minute, it was a strange fit, but I kind of liked it because, I mean, he's so soulful. I mean, imagine taking all that old soul R&B vibe and injecting it in their songs. It probably was awesome, but I think overall the fans probably thought this doesn't work.
We did a festival with In Excess probably 6 months before he died. And I'm a huge In Excess fan. I love it. Their Greatest Hits is one of my airplane music, one of my airplanes.
Yeah.
But God, they were good, man. I mean, Hutchins, just a total rock star.
Oh God, yes.
What a great fucking band, man.
Jim Morrison
on the stage and watched them. It was just so they were mesmerizing. I mean, they're just amazing. Great band.
Yep. And then they did the Rockstar In Excess thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, that guy was very good. And I
JD Fortune,
Yep. That just a great band. I mean, had a chance to see them as well. And Terence Trent D'Arby, I had a chance to see. I love when I get to, I love the records, and then I get to see these guys, and like yourselves. You just don't disappoint, man. I mean,
he was so killer live.
Yeah, it's just the guy really does it. There's no studio magic or anything.
Right.
It's funny. The other thing I think I see back there is your Rust in Peace book. I only notice it because it's sticking out of my book, and I keep looking at it and go. It's funny that's a,
like a mirror image.
Jackson fingerboard. I know. Yeah, it's
right under.
Funny. Nice, awesome. Well done.
Star Hitman, yeah.
There you go.
The only thing I have close to that is my Ellefson iced coffee. So
there you go. I got to get Jeff. I got to send you a sleeve of cups, so you've got your cups.
I love it.
I got to. I've got tons of them in the store.
I have no problem doing mindless shame and
shameless plugs. Yeah, that's a good shirt.
Plugs.
That's cool.
Yeah, I saw your post, Jeff. That's Italian Ice, like.
Yeah, Leone's Italian Ice. They're from back east, and they brought one out here, and right next door they're actually putting a New York pizzeria as well, and it's like, this is my world. This is awesome.
That's very cool. Yeah, I saw the post and I thought, that logo, and I saw the lines and everything. I said, that's gotta be an Eddie tribute thing, man. That's cool.
Another cool shirt they gave me, because they're doing prototypes. They're doing flavors with bands. They want to incorporate the rock and roll with. So check this one out. This is pretty cool too.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
That is awesome. Where is that? It's right by you. It's out there by you.
Yeah, it's over in Thousand Oaks. Yeah, literally a stone's throw, like 9 minutes away from my house.
When I get out there next month, we'll have to head over there.
Yes, sir.
I like it.
Man, that's cool. And
I love plugging him. You know, this. I'm sorry to cut you off. This guy is a childhood friend of Bumblefoot's, so that's how I met him. Ron was in town in November last year, and he goes, "Hey, they did this flavor, this Bumblefoot flavor, because he's doing this hot sauce thing. They did like a cherry jalapeno ice." I'm like, "That's not gonna work," but it worked. It's awesome.
Wow.
So he wants to do. I met him through Ron, and he wants to do my own signature flavor as well, which is great.
Nice.
Again, he's incorporating the whole rock and roll thing. I guarantee if I bring David in there, he's like, "I want to do a Megadeth flavor."
Yeah, totally. Add a little coffee to mine, and then
exactly. You see,
coffee fixes everything up. Chocolate
fixes everything.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Steak sauce. Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Now, Dave, you were on the road. You were out by me here this past weekend, right?
Where are you at?
In Chicago.
No, I was not.
Okay. I thought you were doing the Days of the Dead thing or something like that.
Oh no, we were in discussion about it, but yeah, we didn't end up doing it. We're hoping maybe to do the Days of the Dead over in Las Vegas next month.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of came up pretty quick once we launched the Dwellers film in February. All of a sudden, all these convention things. Some of them are already booked, so but I have done that one before. It's great. It's a good. In fact, that convention is what lit a fire under my ass to start writing more books, because I was signing Charlie Benanti. It was the first convention he'd ever been at, so we're kind of helping him learn how to sell stuff. And he's a great artist. So it's next thing you know, he's drawing Anthrax things on drum heads, and they sold like crazy. And then next to me was Brian Welch from Korn, and he's just a literary son of a gun, that guy, because with his story, with his whole born again Christian story, I mean, his books fly off the shelf,
Right.
So. I had 2 books out, and I looked at him, and he had 3. I'm like, whoa, I better get going here. So that's what kind of lit the fire under me to like just get more literary content, because when you go to the conventions, then you've got your wares out in front of you,
I need to get on this whole book thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's got books. I ain't got no book.
You gotta write a book, dude. Yeah, that's it.
I know, man.
My problem is I think I think I might make too many enemies if I write a book.
Yeah.
Because I want to be honest, I want to be frank,
Yeah.
but I want to tell it like it is. But that obviously means throwing people under the bus, and I don't want to do that.
No, I had the same thing when I wrote. I just come back to Megadeth 2010. Joel MacGyver hit me up, who's now the editor of Bass Player magazine, and he'd been a good friend of mine. Had done interviews and stuff with me before, so he knew the Megadeth history. And Dave was just putting his first memoir out. And it was weird because it was this age of like young guys putting memoirs out. Like I think Slash was kind of the first one to do it,
Right.
Big rock star, but young, in his 40s probably at the time. And I thought, isn't that something like you do when you're like,
Yeah.
Pond, you're in your 80s, pontificating
Golden Pond.
So here we are all in our like 40s and early 50s writing memoirs, and I'm like, but isn't there more life that you're gonna live?
Yeah. We're gonna be missing out a lot of stuff. If I'd written one by now, I wouldn't be able to include the Ellefson Soto chapter.
Yeah. So that's why I did My Life with Death, and I did More Life with Death, and I figure after we retire Megadeth, I'll do My Life After Death.
There you go.
There's my trilogy.
The trifecta.
I love that. That's cool. No doubt. But you guys, I mean, you've lived 3 lives within 40 years. You know what I mean? You guys have done so much, seen so much, been through so much. And I mean, millions and millions of fans all over the world. It's just an interesting life that the normal fan doesn't get to see, to live.
Well, every artist dreams of having exactly what you said, the 3 stages. I mean, the first stages are getting there. First stages are putting all the work in, sleeping in a station wagon or a van, and basically the school of hard knocks. Getting there. The next stage is having it and really having that level of, oh my God, we finally made it. But the final stage, which to me is the most important, is retaining it, is being able to go out there and live out everything that you already did, bring in new fans, and truly just kind of ride the wave like the Stones. They're the epitome of they probably have 4 or 5 stages, but in general, that final stage is probably the hardest, because as you get older, you naturally are looked upon as older. You're a veteran, you're a classic, and trying to keep young people interested in what you're doing currently and all that. And this all ties into what we're doing together with what David and I are doing here, because we're doing something that means something to us. If other people want to join the party, please hop along, because we love what we're doing together, and it seems to be resonating with a lot of people, and that's the whole ideal.
See, Jeff, there's your book. Getting there, staying there, and then living there. That's it. That's it. There it is. There's your right there. I've just written the 3 acts of your play.
My trilogy.
Just saying, you got to make that 3 books,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I got to be honest. I got this one. Sorry, this is something my tour manager did, and it's quite thick. It's basically a chronicle of my life. But it's not a tell-all. There are details of situations like when I joined Journey and how things happen, but there's no dirt, quote unquote. And the dirt is what people want to, people buy this like, wow, he's in every band. This is the albums, these are the sessions he's sung in. But where's all the fights with Yngwie, whatever.
Right.
They want to read about that kind of stuff, and it's not in there.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, that's cool with me. I love your work. And
thank you.
Obviously, your talent is tremendous. Both of you guys, of course. Just all of the work. I'm looking, at the resume, man, and it's just the week that you guys had to cancel. It was like my Jeff week. I talked to Jeff Pilson and Jeff Tate on the same day, and then I had Jeff Scott Soto and you, Dave, later that week. And I thought, all of these guys are tied in. I mean, Jeff, I think he sang on a Dokken record, correct? Right. And, I mean, it's just all of those, were just tied in. And it's just like, you guys have seen so much, done so much with your careers, man, and given the world sound. It's just tremendous.
Well, even my drummer from Soto he's drumming for Jeff Tate too. So I'm tied in with Jeff as well. It's kind of funny.
One of the fun things is when you stand shoulder to shoulder with your heroes, like I think probably the moment like Alice Cooper took Megadeth out on tour, leagues and leagues beyond, anything. Cause he's had 3 iconic careers, maybe 4, in one.
Yeah.
Billy Sheehan, who says the same thing. I've done a lot of kind of, seminars with him with Harkey and stuff. And he always talks about how he's got lucky 3 times, between David Lee Roth, Mr. Big, and then Winery Dog, Sons of Apollo. He's had this, this kind of ongoing career. I remember, touring with Iron Maiden and with Megadeth was So Far So Good So Well. We were pretty wild. They all had young families and nannies and strollers and wives routes. So they sort of put us on the opposite side of the arena down the hall by the janitor closet. Let's keep those Megadeth guys away from us,
That's funny.
Now I've done a lot of work with them and become friends with them, of course. And same with Kiss, you know what I mean? And every time we play with Kiss, I mean, my parents are gone, but I just stand over there because I'm on Gene's side. So I get to see all the Gene Simmons fans in their makeup. And I go over to Kiko's side and there's all the Paul fans and I stand on their stage and, and they're very gracious, they're Kiss. They don't have to throttle back the PA. They don't have to limit your stage space. They give you the full wares because what's coming next with Kiss is everything, what I mean?
They don't have to worry about anybody blowing them off.
Yeah, you're not going to upstage Kiss, and they're very gracious. And, but Kiss Megadeth, we've done good shows together. It's actually a really good bill. But I'm standing there on the stage and it's just, I don't care who you are. It's just that, oh my God, I'm fucking standing on Kiss's stage right now. You know what I mean? It's just, so there's these moments that I think those are probably the ones that still keep us fans, and keep the excitement going for us. And, it's as we're mixing our tracks right now of our record, the mix comes down and, you hear things, you're like, whoa, that sounds better than I remember it sounding last week when we recorded it, and
purposely I walk away from when I finish something, I walk away from it, especially when it's in the rough stages. I want to hear it. I hear it when I'm creating it and I listen back before I send it to anybody, of course, but I don't listen to it until it's actually mixed, because I want to be surprised on how well it truly works and how truly it fits in together now. Once it's mixed, once all the placements and the balances are there, and that's when I can listen back and go, whoa, this is badass. I don't remember sounding this good. Exactly the same as you did.
Yeah, it sounds better than the band I remember being in. You know?
I need to lay off the crack.
I love it, man. Now you guys did Swords and Tequila, one of my favorite bands. I love Riot. I love the Red Forester years. I love all of that stuff. Was there any other song that you guys discussed? I mean, you had to, right?
From a cover, there really wasn't. In fact, we mixed two songs. One is an original song, and that was actually what we were planning to sort of leak out, kind of tip our hand on this whole thing. And we mixed Swords and Tequila and this other track. And when they both came back, I think we all agreed, the Swords and Tequila thing might not be a bad idea for a first look, because first of all, it's a cover. And it's let's run this up the flagpole, and if this salutes, then we know we got something to keep going on, and because I don't care how confident you are and how much experience you've had, you do learn at times. There's like, okay, there's a method to how we put this out, because look, first impressions are the lasting impression. I've had records, as you probably have too, Jeff, even Megadeth records, that we've launched the first single in the morning and the record was dead by 2 p.m. that afternoon, just because of that first single. And it's hard to get it back. And you go, God dang it, we led with the wrong track. We should have led with the metal track. It would have left a different impression on the fans. And it's hard to get them back. You know what I mean? Because it's once that's that first look. So this one was fun, and it was adventurous because, we brought our friend Rick Hughes in from Sword to guest on it. So it just made it feel more like a rock and roll party, which I think is always good,
Oh yeah.
So we took a chance on this one, and it seemed to launch well, and now we're excited, and not only did fans respond well, but industry people responded well, and that's Jeff and I have talked about that too. Like, that's a really great thing when you don't feel like you're just rolling this big rock up a steep hill by yourself. Like, all of a sudden people are willing to pitch in and go, man, I get it, I feel it, I want in. Let's do this together. That's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and I think we did the cover for the same reasons that, exactly what you said, Scott. We're big fans of that band from that time. I mean, we were young when that first came out. That was very impressionable upon us, as it was for you and a lot of the metal community. I mean, when you think that came out during a time when there was no real Riot really didn't fit in yet. They were kind of the wave of the next wave of what was to come. And so when you listen to that song, it brings you back to, oh my God, I remember when this was just so new and young and fresh, and we were just kids. And you listen to it now, and it still brings you back to that feeling. So we wanted to capture that same level of excitement without changing it up too much. We didn't want to break it because fix it because it wasn't broken. So, but bottom line is, we just had fun doing it. And then, as David said, when we realized, let's see what if we get any bites, if people even care about what we're doing here. And that's why we put that one out first, because it was just so rocking and so in your face, and it kind of it opened the floodgates for what's coming up next, and what David and I are working on.
Yeah, and can't wait, man. As a fan, it's so, man. I heard that song, I was like, doing a Riot song right there. It doesn't matter what Riot song, just knowing who Riot is, instant integrity. You know what I mean? It's such a great song to lead with.
Having Rick is great too. I mean, it's another one of Dave's little levels of branding and coming up with ideas, and the wheels always spinning when it comes to music, by getting the singer from a band called Sword on the Swords and Tequila. You tie it in. It's like rust in peace, roast in peace. All these little things that can kind of help you touch upon something and remember it a little more than just throwing it out there. There's little things that it just kind of helps nudge things along, I think.
Yeah, It's so important. And, you know, and like you say, I mean, you guys are having fun doing this. I think that's really important for anybody, but
Yeah.
especially you guys at your stage. You know what I mean? You've had success. You've been doing this a long time. You're veterans. It needs to be fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know, I had a chat literally this morning with somebody about that. And it's, you know, at a point when a lot of people are looking to cash out, I feel like
Yeah.
me and Jeff, and there's a bunch of us in our tribe, we're looking at how do we keep ramping up, you know?
Yeah.
Because when we wake up in the morning, you know, there's a song in our head, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's the thing we wake up to. It's the thing we get excited about, whether it's something we're working on or, hey, there's a new collaboration we're going to get involved in. Or in our case, we're mixing something, you know, and we always have several things cooking. I mean, it's just kind of the world we live in. You know, gone are the days, unless you're young, you know, and you just kind of signed your first big record deal, you know, gone are the days of just kind of having only one thing that you're doing. The business has always been very entrepreneurial in that sense. And I will say, look, when you are young, you know, stay focused, keep committed. It blows my mind. I see bands that put out their first big record, and next thing you know, one of the members is going solo. You know, after their first summer tour, I'm like, wait a minute, you guys need to like pull it together here. You know, it's
David. You swore you wouldn't talk about me like that. I mean, I literally did Yngwie's first two things, and I was gone within a year.
But you know, but it's interesting. I can imagine in that setting again in Megadeth, we were a band. Dave and I committed to it. We were committed to it being a 4-piece group.
Right, that's true.
Imagine with Yngwie, it's like it's his name on the door.
The marquee artist.
It's his thing. Yeah. So you know, there are those situations. You know, Michael Schenker had, you know, a lineup for a couple of records, and then it, you know, it's kind of a rotating singers and stuff. But again, look, as fans, you know, we like familiarity. You know, again, being a Kiss fan, man, once the armor was pierced, you know, and Ace left, is like, oh, come on, man. It's like that you can't call that Kiss. And that's just me as a fan. So I know when Megadeth has gone through lineup changes, I now I am on the inside. I'm going, oh God, fans are going to be pissed. And they just, right, wrong, or indifferent, we all love our hero as the band. We love our heroes within the band. And that's just, it's part of the culture of what we create, with this sort of excitement and enthusiasm with our bands and our music and stuff that we do.
At least you can say that you and Dave are the Gene and Paul.
Gene and Paul, yes.
Yeah. And the continuation of Megadeth.
We're trying. Yeah, exactly. We're trying. You know, it's, you know, we just get it. You know what I mean? And I always say, you know, people ask me, how come you've been there all the time? And it's like, you know, I was in the room when the vision was cast. You know, we sat and we riffed on the ideas. And one of our first things was, how do we have a band with 2 Daves? Because
I
think in 1983, I don't know if there'd ever been one. You know, there was, you know, there's John and Paul, there's Gene and Paul, you know, Keith and Mick and Steve and Joe. I mean, but how do you have 2 Daves? It's just possible. How do we do this? You know, so,
well, Kiss actually had. Kiss had 2 Pauls, just one of them changed his name to Ace.
Right.
Exactly.
There you go.
Right. You're absolutely right. So, lucky he had a nickname built in, you know.
Is that when Junior was born?
It was. And it was funny because the guy he was a friend of ours, Peyton Tuttle. He was from Minneapolis, and he had gone to BIT. And we were, Dave and I, because we were very poor starting the band, you know, we would sort of move in with people. They didn't know we were moving in until our mail started. You know? Then they go, hey, welcome to your mail. Can you pitch in on the electric bill at least, you know, buy some groceries, you know? Then we'd move out, you know, but struggling to put a band together. But we were in the grocery store. You probably know it, Jeff. Though I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a Gelson's now down on Kings Road in Santa Monica.
Oh yeah.
You know that one. We were in there, and Peyton made some joke. I was brand new in town, and he goes, "Yeah, Ellefson's like, you know, Junior who fell off the turnip truck, fresh in town." Soto. And Dave was howling. He goes, "Oh my God, Junior, that is it. That's your name." So that's where the name came from. So. I never much cared for it, but you know, now I don't care. You know,
that's funny because every time Petrelli says, "Hey, Junior's coming to the show," I'm like, "Junior who?" And then I realized,
I know.
It's great.
Name stick, yeah.
Tell me about the album, man. Ellefson Soto. Are you guys done writing it, recording it, mixing it? Is it ready to go? And
we think. we think we're done writing it. And I told David the other day, I'm not opposed to if when we're done mixing the count them 15 songs that we have. It's a lot of tunes. We've been busting ass.
Yeah.
If in the end or even during the process something comes along that, oh man, we gotta add this to the arsenal. This is just too good to leave out. We might come across a couple songs. This was cool when we were doing it. Maybe it doesn't really fit the element of where we thought it might with this. So yeah, we're at that point where we have a lot of songs, but if some don't work or if something comes along in the process, we're not going to disregard it. We're also not in the process of, well, let's just keep writing and writing and writing until we finally get it. I don't believe in that. And I think, David, you were kind of the same, even you go that far with Megadeth in terms of when it's time to write an album, you write the 11 songs, the 10 songs, the 9 songs, whatever are going to be in the record, and you move on with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, it's interesting how when we mix and we're hearing them back, because we wrote, we were very prolific. Really for about 8-10 weeks. We really hit the ground
hardcore.
Focused. And Jeff is juggling, quite a few other records and stuff. I'm like,
unbelievable.
I talk all day because I talk too much, but we do these Zoom calls and my throat hurts after talking for a couple hours, and Jeff's singing 8 hours a day. I'm like, God bless you, man. With your fingers, you can just shake them off and play some more bass, but your throat is your throat, So Jeff, you've not rocked it, but as we're mixing it, it's fun because with this, I think how we make records these days, and especially having to do things remotely with the pandemic and otherwise, it's even as you mix, you can add little things, tweak little things so that the writing, I always go by this adage we had. I remember making our first Megadeth records, the adage was nothing's final until it's vinyl, You can always add these tweaks, embellish, and Jeff is a master at, he goes, let me recut that last note right there. I'm like, really? And you go, bang, done, and in 10 minutes, there's a vocal stem it's ready to put in Pro Tools. And I love that work ethic because we've all worked with people, and I've done it myself, where it's like, maybe you're exhausted, you're just kind of tired of the song, you're tired of the part, and it's just like, oh, I can't, the thought of going back into that song and working on it more, I'm exhausted. But Jeff, I gotta say, is a workhorse, just and by his own energy will be the first one to say, you know what, I can do that better. Let me give me a half hour, let me take a stab and tighten that up now that I hear it in context.
Right.
So it's a beautiful, always kind of a work in motion. It's not like, well, I played my part, you guys need to live with it because I'm Ellefson and the take it or leave it. There's none of that, and that's such a really a great work ethic to have.
Way to work.
Always continue to always make it better, toward the big prize.
And it doesn't hurt that we have our own home studios. That's something I prided myself in for many, many, many years, even back in the 90s or even going into the early 2000s when we were finally able to build upon our home studios. You go from the 4-track to the 8-track to we had those ADAT tapes and then your first levels of digital. From the very first time I started working on Pro Tools, I just kept learning and learning and learning because I never wanted to rely on anyone else. I didn't want to rely on a studio. I didn't want to rely on an engineer. If I want to do something, I want to do it when my voice feels ready to do it. I don't have to hop in my car and deal with an hour of traffic and then waiting for the guy to set up and then yapping. And then hours later, you got 20 minutes worth of work done. I love the idea of David send me something. Hey, my mic's here. My headphones are here, but got it done. And that's how it's worked for us in a great way, because as he said, if I hear something that I feel I want to do better, or I didn't really hear that note, and I think that it's a wrong, what little things, little tweaks, or even major ones. David might say, hey, instead of harmony vocals, just do unison or octave. Maybe that'll sound strong. Whatever, those little things that really make the song pop. We have that luxury because we have the technology, we have the work ethic, and with those two elements, we've created some really good stuff.
Man, that's cool. And is Swords and Tequila the only cover on there?
No.
DVD. DVD.
We dabbled on a couple things. Again, not everything's going to be a final or decision of keeping, but of course the one thing I love about David when he comes to us with a cover, it's not your usual cover. Okay, the Riot one is probably the closest to where we came from. It's more of our heritage. But then he'll come up with something like, I would have never thought that. And it's amazing because if you're going to do a cover, it's always better to kind of go outside the box, kind of go outside the metal box, the influence of where we come from box, and really go left field and turn that into something that sounds like us.
Yeah, I'm all for that. You know, I hear so many people, you know, that are doing covers and they do, you know, the most popular song by a band. It's like,
right.
Well, okay, you know, it's I usually skip that over that one from the original band. You know what I mean?
I also don't feel like you have to out metal. You know, like we're gonna be more metal than the next guy. You know what I mean? Sometimes you hear the covers and they're just like, geez, man, it's like, you know, it's detuned and barking like a dog over it, and it's just, and like, and that's fine. Obviously, for some genres, that is what it takes, you know. But you know, to sing death metal over like a Taylor Swift cover, it's a little hard to digest. You know what I mean? so anyway,
is that a hit? Is that a hit?
No.
So wait till you hear our version of "Staying Alive" from the Beatles.
I figure, you know, look, we've got some incredible musical ability in the group. You know what I mean? It's like everybody here can play anything that's put in front of them, which is great. You know, it's really it's great. It's a great thing to have, and so it's fun to kind of throw things at each other, and we hear things, we go, "Ooh, that's freaking cool," and everybody sort of rises to making it all better.
Right.
You know, it is not an intimidation factor. There's not a thing of like, well, I played this and you better match that. There's none of that sort of bravado, you know, which is just that's a great place to be, you know, where you kind of started the interview with, here we are in life, you know what I mean? It's like, why did we do it? Well, we want to make great music and we want to have fun, and it's nice to be in the room, even though virtual rooms these days. It's fun to be in the rooms with the people that you enjoy hanging out with, man. There's a lot of hanging out time. This band being less because we live in 4 different cities, you know. In fact, Jeff and I hanging out on these Zoom calls, this is probably the most we've hung out the whole time, truth be told. But
it is true.
But because, you know, we'll talk on the phone or text or whatever, and then a lot of it's just kind of corresponding because we're deep into the, you know, the work of building the track, you know. But you know, there's this hang time, you know. Can you sort of hang out and break bread and chill with each other away from the music? Because that's where the, you know, in order to really write a song, you got to have a story to tell, and if you're not living life, you can't build a story, you know. So having a lifetime of experiences and something to draw upon is really, it's really kind of the core of what a song is about, as you tell the story of it.
And between us, boy, do we have stories to tell.
Just wait till you read Jeff's new book. You'll hear.
Yeah, there you go. The first one. So Jeff, is Humberto Banderas gonna make an appearance on the record?
You know what? Not on this record. I don't think so. But Humberto is you know, he's an embodiment of what I am, and you know, I'm an embodiment of what Humberto is. I've got so many different faces, masks, personalities, influences, inspirations, and there's always a rhyme or reason to put them in. And this is when I'm asked this about even like TSO. TSO was the furthest from anything I would have ever thought I would get involved with. I'm not into musical theater. I'm not into Broadway and all that. And TSO is very much that. So I would have steered so far away from there until they actually pulled me in to work with them. And Paul O'Neill, rest his soul, you know, he taught me things that I never knew I had in me, in terms of where my voice can go in characters and in emotions and certain things. You know, you grow up doing what you do, but it's also the other things that you challenge yourself doing that you're going to actually draw from, and that can pull you into a situation. And there's even some stuff that I'm kind of able to draw from my education and my knowledge of TSO into what I'm doing with Ellefson Soto. So it's never a bad thing to be learning, to be a student of your craft, to always be learning. Once you feel like you've done it all and said it all, you might as well just stop doing it. It's always a work in progress as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well said. And you know, I think that's what makes you great, as you know, as a vocalist, is you come in and I hear the soul and I hear all that stuff, you know, I hear that heavy stuff. And I mean, it's moving. You know, when you sing, you move that song through many phases. And, you know, any musician, when you come in and you have those influences and, you know, you play with that soul and passion,
Thank you,
can
man.
tell. You know, you can tell.
Oh, by the way, David, David's probably looking like, who the hell is Humberto Banderas? That was my pseudonym in Boogie Nights.
Well, it was awesome, which is one of my favorite bands Jeff was ever in. It's funny.
Yeah.
I brought that up on an interview last week, and it was like, whoa, Boogie Nights, whoa. And people are like, what the heck is this? And I swear to God, because I saw it, I told the story. You guys played a place called Gibson's here in Tempe.
Tempe, yeah.
And I went in to see it, and the bass part was great. The song, I think was it Disco Inferno was your opening song. I mean, dude, it was great, top to bottom. Like, what an awesome idea. And then I saw Jeff, I don't know, a year or two later, or it's either later, maybe it was even before that, I forgot. But you know, we were going from Vegas to LA or something, and
right.
Jeff, and looking all high and tight like a rich rock star singer, making cash, flying home from Vegas. I was like, damn, this dude's got it going on, man. This is and you know, the funny thing is that we all know, we've talked to people that were on major label, you know, deals even back in the day when there was, you know, the $1 million deals and the big deals. It's like, man, it's so easy for that money to be spent and be blown through, and you think it's going to be there forever. Right. And then guys end up being in, you know, tribute bands and cover bands, off doing casinos and corporates, and then making real money, and again buying houses and getting back up on their feet again, and making car payments and raising their families doing those kind of gigs. So and you know, I grew up playing covers as a kid in Minnesota. That was the only way you could get hired. And my band, we quickly learned out, because we were metalheads, you know, the set list would be like Eddie Money, Journey, 38 Special, and then we'd come in and we'd play like Love Me Like a Reptile by Motorhead, and you know, and they'd say, well, wait a minute, what happened to this other set list? It's like, yeah, we dropped all those songs. Now we're playing Iron Maiden, Wrathchild, and you know, we're being metalheads.
That's awesome.
But I love it. That's why I moved to LA, and I started going with Dave. You know, we go to the Troubadour, and I went to the you know, to the Whiskey. I'm like, you guys got it easy. It's like, we'll just roll your Marshalls in. You got a built-in sound and lights. Me growing up in the Midwest, we had to have, you know, and because I lived on a farm, my dad gave us a shed and a building, and, you know, a family van, and helped me buy a trailer and a PA. Like, I was that guy. We had the PA and the sound and lights, and rehearse at our place. But I mean, when you showed up to do a gig, you had to have everything. In fact, there was a band out of Minneapolis called Chameleon that Yanni was in. Yanni was the keyboard player, and his drummer, Charlie Adams, who had the spinning drum kit like about 5 years before Tommy Lee.
Wow.
That was kind of their shtick, and they had a semi and 4 records out and a crew and all this stuff, and they packed the ballrooms through the Midwest. I mean, they were really doing it on a big regional level. You know, they're kind of a Bon Jovi sounding band before Bon Jovi broke, actually. So it was, but it's, you know, you know, those times were, you know, it was hard. You had to have all the wares, you know, and you were kind of judged by all of it. So beginning to LA,
you were kind of like the David Lee Roth of that time when you think about it, because that's how he got the Van Halen gig. He had the PA.
Had the PA. I know. Yeah, you hear the story. Yeah, it's like, hey,
they used to rent it from him, and they go, why rent it from him? If he joins the band, we get it for free.
We get it for free. Exactly. Get a singer and a PA. Yeah, which is funny. Because no disrespect to current company, but most singers don't bring the PA with them. You know what I mean? It's like, in fact, most singers, we usually joke, it's like the singer, what do you have to pack up your microphone? Meanwhile, the drummer's taking his trap kit apart, and the bass player's loading out his SVT. The singer's over in the corner getting all the hot chicks. You know, we picked the wrong instrument. Yeah, and that's what the singer's saying, is he's got his arm around all the hot babes. Hey, you picked the wrong instrument. So.
Yeah, but then when your voice is fried and all these guys just putting band-aids, they can play all night, and you can't even speak. Like, oh, maybe you picked the right instrument.
Exactly.
Hey, how did you guys first meet?
I'm gonna say it was probably back at those Boogie Nights times, you know, what David's talking about. That's probably when we first. I mean, we've always known of each other because we were cut from the same cloth in the same genre in the same time period, but always known about each other clearly. I think the first true like conversational meeting would have been with our our middleman, Al Petrelli, who was obviously part of Megadeth at one point, and also the musical director for TSO. So that's when we could actually sit down and chat and not have all the distractions behind us. Sitting in a room and you can truly get to know the person. And then, just through the years, run into each other at NAMM. There's always a place where you're running into your buddies, into your colleagues and cohorts, and it's just one of those things where we met this way, and musically we didn't know we had this tie-in until David called on me. And again, the entrepreneur over here, always wheels are spinning, always thinking of stuff. He calls me up and says, I got some stuff, and would you be interested in helping me finish it? And it's amazing how the world spins, how small the world truly is with the especially in metal.
Yeah. Now, Dave, what made you call Jeff? How did that happen?
Look, there's, Alice Cooper calls it the stable, right? There's a stable of the real hot shots, right? And we've had this talk. He's talked about it, I think, in the Hired Gun film. He talks about it. And for him, of course, it's his sideman band musicians that are, there's a small stable of people you go to. But there's the same thing. There's kind of like a small circle of people that's, and we all know each other. I mean, Metal Allegiance, who, we've worked in that, obviously, and that turned into something a lot of fun and, had some success. Jeff, who sings in a band with Mike Portnoy with Sons of Apollo. So we're all around each other. And like I said, at NAMM, we're all kind of using similar equipment, and
it's very incestuous.
It is. It's very incestuous. I mean, because like back in the day, it's funny. I'd see like, well, how did Ainsley Dunbar get in that band from Journey,
right.
and how come Cozy Powell's playing in there? Oh wow, they got Don Airey. Now Don Airey's in Ozzy's band, and then Ozzy calls Rudy Sarzo, and now Rudy Sarzo's in that band. You know what I mean? So it is. You kind of follow the paper trail, and quite honestly, me and Jeff now we're that generation. We're those guys. So. I had a track, last year. It's a ballad thing that I wrote on bass, and it's one of these little songs that wrote itself in an afternoon, and I could sing it enough to demo the idea and kind of come up with the melody of it. But I was here in town and I was trying to sing it, and I was like, okay, I'm not the final voice of this by any means. And there's a local guy here that came in and kind of took a stab at it, and it was at John Acolino's studio from Icon. He's got a big studio here in town. And John and Jeff's name came up either by me or John. I think I brought it up. I said, I'd love to do something with Jeff, and John's like, come on, like, are you kidding? He'd be perfect. You know what I mean? So sometimes, cool. Just having the reassurance of your friends, going, call Jeff. So that's it. And I hit him up, and I literally sent the track over, and unexpected.
He's not busy at all, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, I was thinking, well, maybe next month when you get to it, you can get it back over to me, because it wasn't in like a big hurry. But literally like a couple of hours, he had it back done with harmonies, and I was like, wow. And it's funny, Jeff, you probably got a little hint of my working stuff, because I remember I sent it, and usually these kind of things, you send it over, it's done, just sing it as it is, and
right.
But I was already kind of like, well, maybe we should change this word. And you're kind of like, rewrites already, huh? And I was kind of like, okay, I don't want to waste your time because you're a professional and you're singing other stuff. But I like again, nothing's final till it's final. So as you're writing something, sometimes you hear something back. And in this case, it was a word that I wrote that all of a sudden I'm like, I don't like that. I want to change it. Would you re-sing that word for me, and Jeff was great at it. I mean, just again, a total professional. But it's funny how we're kind of doing the same thing as we're mixing and collaborating on this stuff is, something will be sent over, and it's and I've learned with Jeff, and is like he's a great singer. You know what I mean? Like I can hear a melody in my head. Jeff's a real singer. You know what I mean? And when I send something over, it's like, hey, sketch of an idea, and then I stand back. It's like, I don't want to get burned by the flame, because when Jeff turns up the heat, it freaking gets hot. It's good shit. Yep. And so to me, it's like, surround yourself with people better than you. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I can play bass pretty good, but you know, I need a drummer. Get a good drummer. You know, when we need a singer, like get a good singer, and then all boats rise. The whole thing just gets better and better. And I say that because we've all been in situations where sometimes it's dictated, hey, sing it like this or play it like this, do it like that, and those are those situations, and you know that going into it. You walk into it and you're like, okay, who's in charge? Okay, you're writing. Okay, how do you want me to do it? You know, I one of the sessions I did with Max Cavalera with Soulfly. You know, he writes everything. He's calling the shots. It's his band. He's very chill. And I said, do you want it kind of like this, kind of like that? He's like, hey, whatever. You're David Ellefson. Play it however you want. I'm like, really? Like, this is a metal gig, right? Because most metal gigs I've done are very, like, you know, precise and machine gun, you know. And he's like, he goes, however you want. You try your way, you know. And it was so refreshing because I obviously Megadeth, we're very not like that. It's very specific and we're very focused on how it is, and that's just how we work in that band. So you know, you get these different experiences, and the ones you like, you tend to go back to. You know what I mean? So I think that experience last year that Jeff and I had, it was enjoyable. It was fun, and it was kind of like, we should do more. And so,
hey, if you see me levitating, it's only because of all this praise. I feel like I'm floating in a cloud.
Rise up, young man. But it is, and it you know, you want to go back to the well again. You know what I mean? And it's you know, you want to go back and continue that. You know, if it's an enjoyable process, and it continues.
Yeah, I mean, we could be here all day for the rhyme and reason why we're doing it. I've got a billion things I could say about David, from his work ethic to his personality. There's so many factors that make it important and make it a little more personal when you're doing stuff like this, when you're doing a new collaboration. Like we keep bringing up, Lord knows David nor I have any time to waste. We're not going to be jumping into new things or starting new things if we feel like it's going to be a waste of time on any spectrum. So that being said, as I wasn't looking for anything new to add to my arsenal, this kind of fell in my lap, and it's become such a pleasure to work with David, to work with Andy. You know, that's our other writing partner, the guitar player, and just everybody's got such a level of respect, professionalism, and courtesy. Those three factors alone make this such a dream situation to work. I literally don't feel like it's work, or that it's an effort, in the sense of, okay, I gotta come up with something because I gotta try and blow him away. I gotta try and impress him. I don't need to impress David. He doesn't need to impress me. And that's kind of how I think we naturally impress each other by just being us. And that's what the best part about what we're doing here is.
Yeah. And you know, it is magical, man. Because you guys are I mean, honestly, I'm not blowing sunshine here. You guys are the best of the best. And you know, like Sons of Apollo, you know, I go see Sons of Apollo. Now I've seen I saw Pink Floyd back in the day. I've seen Kiss back in the day, all the greatest bands, and on and on and on and on.
Right.
I go see Sons of Apollo. I mean, we're talking about, you know, an all-star band. It's just the greatest players in each position, and it's magical. It's absolutely magical. It's chills. It's stunning. You know, I'm standing there going, I've never seen anything like this, and I've seen thousands of bands. But it's magical. And Jeff opens up his mouth, and it's just, you know, it just comes to life. And that's, you know, and I think that's what you were talking about, David. Like, you know, when you hear, you know, you have that thought in your head of the song, but when Jeff comes in and sings that song, it's like, wow, you know, it's just boom, you know,
you know, when you write things, you kind of write with people in mind. Like, I know when I'm going to bring something over to Dave for Megadeth, it's pretty specific. You know, it has to not sound like something else we've done. It has to not sound like something else anyone else has done. And if it's a lyric, I have to think, okay, is Dave going to really stand on stage and sing this? Doesn't matter how good it is he going to sing it?
Right.
Is he going to stand up there after singing Sweating Bullets and Peace Cells and sing my song? I mean, and I got to really be critical of myself to answer that, because you kind of got one shot to run it up the flagpole. You know what I mean? You're kind of bringing it in. Is it good, or we always have a saying, yeah, it's good, but save it for your solo album. Meaning it doesn't work here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Right.
we've been saying that for 20 years, you know.
That's
so
awesome.
you know, so
and I would imagine that happens a lot, you know.
it
Of
does.
course
And
it
I mean,
does.
Yeah.
and there's things here. I mean, again, I even bring in the stuff that you know that we're working on here, going, okay, you know, we can get a little wider with this because it's a blank canvas and we're making a new creation here. But you know, within reason, you know, there's certain things that are you know, if you know, they're just, you know, you don't bring a Nashville sounding song into a project like this, you know what I mean? And it's, you know, so there's certain things that work and certain things that don't, and experience kind of, you know, leads you, you know, to the right material to bring into the right setting.
Imagine if Kiss used that ideal though. It's great, but save it for your solo project. Imagine a song like "I Was Made for Loving." It was a massive hit for them, or Beth, completely off the beaten trail of what that band stood for. But they said, you know what? It's not us, but let's make it us. And I love that. And we dabble on the same ideal as well, because the people working on this project is so well rounded. We kind of know we can get if I want to put a little Umberto Banderas sprinkle on something, I kind of know I can get away with it, because in the end it's going to be my contribution. It's not going to be too off the beaten trail. I kind of know where it sits here and what I want to represent, or what I feel I want to make represent my contributions to this.
Yeah, and that's just it, you know. And you know, like the Terence Trent D'Arby, you know, influence and stuff. If you want to do that, you can. You know, Dave, you're playing. Everybody kind of expects that thrash, Megadeth, heavy, Soulfly, death metal bass, but I mean, you're so versed in everything and all that influence. You can play a funky bass line. You know, you guys are that good to where you can do those things, and that's got to be a great freedom.
David's a bad mofo.
Yeah, he is.
David's really impressing me with some of the stuff, because I've heard my handful of Megadeth songs, and I know, you know, one of the most iconic bass lines of all time is the one that MTV News used for. So you listen to that and it's so iconic, and you go, that's David Ellefson. That's badass.
Yeah.
But even on this stuff that we're working on, I'm hearing things that I didn't know was part of his arsenal. I'm like, damn, this guy's good. He's way he's on another level that I was expecting. Let's just put it that way.
Cool.
And that's also very refreshing in terms of knowing that we can expand on what we're doing. We know we can dabble in the things that we haven't done. And that's with any band. That's with any, especially at this age where we're at. We want to explore things that don't fit with our day jobs.
Yeah. And that's great. And you know, I can't wait to hear what you guys have, because I'm not sure what it's going to be. And that's exciting for me.
Man, even when we get the mix, it's like, whoa, this is great. I can't wait for people to hear this. And I'm really excited. I'm more excited about it than because when you're working on it, it's just a work in progress. You don't know if it's going to work or not. You don't know if the other guys are going to like it. And we kind of feel that same sense of, you know, I hope there's not too long of a radio silence, because that usually means they don't like it and they're going to come back with all these changes. And I love it with these guys. I send it out, boom, blast. Dude, this is awesome. You killed it. You knocked it out of the ballpark. And I love that way of working with people.
Yeah, man. It's really exciting. I have no idea what to expect. I mean, I really don't, man.
That's what I keep crying. I keep drilling it in just to make it go, what does this sound like?
It's crazy. But here's the thing. I know it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, you guys are the best there is. And it's, you know, it's just.
Thanks, Scott.
It's so
more
cool.
Importantly, we want to impress your cat back there, because he's sitting there like the cat on Peter Criss's Drum Riser on the Rock and Roll Over tour. So we got to.
There you go.
Yeah, he's rocking.
What's the cat's name?
Yeah, man. We had Spooky and Goblin. There were two black cats. We lost. We lost Spooky, but we got Goblin here. So.
I got Cherry. I got a black cat named Cherry. Today's his birthday, so that's
cool. Man, and so I know Billy's got a Spooky, I think. Billy
Spooky passed away. He's got a replacement named Rebel now.
Yeah,
that was with him for a long time.
A true name of a Southerner now. Billy.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Billy from New York has become a Southerner. I love it.
Yeah, I had a Spooky too, and I was like, then they're identical. I mean, they're same breed a cat and stuff. Yeah, he makes an appearance there for everyone now. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, I was talking to Jeff Tate, like I said, and David, you did the key. You played bass on that. Yep. Yeah. You know, and I love talking to you guys. You know, I've talked to each of you a few times now, and you're always so gracious. And you know, when I talked to Jeff, the interview for Jeff hit my desk, and I was like, it's kind of scared me. You know, I idolize the guy. I love Queensryche. I love his voice. And I thought, I'm a little scared to talk to Jeff, though.
Jeff is a lovely guy. Yeah. It's funny. Jeff and I'd met him once when we came through Seattle back in the 90s, but he and I were asked to be part of the Metal All-Stars tour. And it was just 2 shows in South America, in La Paz, Bolivia, and Sao Paulo. And ironically, the opening or the support act was Angra, and that's when I met Kiko. Yeah. And it's funny because Kiko, I knew there was a change going down in the Megadeth camp, like literally that week. And so I played with Kiko. Gus G was supposed to come over, and he didn't end up coming over. So Kiko had to fill in and play the couple of songs play guitar for Jeff Tate. And I watched Kiko just pick this stuff up like that, and he gets on stage and he's like a monkey. He's just like bang, he's on the drum riser, and then he's over there. And I was going, literally as I'm playing, going, I should probably get his number. You know what I mean? And I got his number, and I just kind of vetted him out a little bit, like And he said, hey, I just bought a place in L.A. so I could get a bigger gig up in L.A. And I went, oh boy, all right, I'll be calling you. And I mean, literally, like a month or two later. I ended up, Dave hits me one day. He goes, hey, I think I found a guitar player, for Megadeth. I said, who is it? He goes, Kiko. And I said, I know Kiko. He goes, you do? I said, yeah, I just played with him a couple months ago. You want me to hit him up? And he goes, man, totally. If you got his number, hit him. So I did. And it was like, and it wasn't one of these like asking Kiko. It was like telling him. It's kind of like the mafia. It's like, hey, guess what, Kiko? You're in Megadeth. You're joining. Like, Dave wants you in the band, so you're in. You know what I mean? So he sent a couple of videos over, and in Dave's mind, he was already in the band. So, but it was funny with Jeff. We met at the airport in Miami, and we were kind of like fly buddies on that one. We flew through Colombia to La Paz, then we flew home from Sao Paulo together. So we were like travel buddies. And I didn't recognize him right away. I'm standing next to him, and he's talking to me. He comes up to me, and I'm thinking, who's this guy? Like kind of international traveler guy, because he's in his nice suit. He's looking all high and tight. He's like, this is like a handsome international Colombian businessman or something. And then all of a sudden, I realized, holy shit, I think that's Jeff. So I'm like, it is Jeff, So we ended up hanging out, and it was really great. And we were on the side of the stage. It was funny because we rehearsed and gotten a chance to just play together. And he asked me in La Paz. He says, hey, do you write? And I said, I do. And he goes, okay, I got 3 records or something I'm doing for Frontiers, and I need some songs. I said, done. So, and it's funny. So me and Steve Conley, who plays in Flotsam and Jetsam now and was in a group called F5 with me. I hit him. I just said, hey, Jeff's looking for some songs. I know you're a fan of that stuff. And I mean, within like an afternoon, we whipped up a couple of tracks, and they were his first 2 singles off of those 2 records. That's and cool. And actually I tapped Steve for not even for this particularly. Steve just happened to send me something to play on. He said, hey, I got this track. Would you want to put some bass on it? And I did. And then I hit him back, and I said, I might have a place for that song. And I'm working with Jeff, and I hear Jeff on this track. It was just an instrumental that he had. And I said, I think as an instrumental, it'll be okay. I think if Jeff's on it, it's a hit. It's a real song. And so it's funny how that happens. These just unexpected musical collaborations, things land on your desk, and next thing you know, everybody's at the party working on it, and it's turned out to be a fantastic track. So it's
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And when I took the interview, of course, and I love the guy and the music, and I'm thinking, he's known to have a tough reputation. He's Queensryche was going through some stuff right then, and I thought, okay, this could go south. I talked to the guy. He is
He's the wonderful. You know, it's funny. We were standing in the lobby
a...
of that hotel in Sao Paulo because we stayed there with Megadeth too, and we're in the lobby, and he kind of chuckles. He goes, "This is the lobby where it all went down at the Queensrÿche show," and I'm like, "No shit."
Wow, that's awesome.
Literally. And he was kind of laughing, like, "Yeah, this is where it happened, right here," you know. And he was able to. I love the guy, man. He's a wonderful guy. Of course, we know the Queensrÿche guys, and you know, you kind of don't ever bring it up. It's a weird kind of divorce situation. But you know, you can be friends with both sides, and you know, that's just what it is.
And he had great things to say about them. You know, he had met him at a festival just recently, a few years back now. But you know, and they hugged, and you know, he had great things to say about Todd singing for him, and how good he was. So just a gentleman, man. I was just, and you know, we talked again, you know, a couple of weeks ago, and it's just like, man, what a gracious, good-natured human being. I mean, it's just a really nice guy.
What's funny about Todd, as much as he's known as a singer, he's an amazing drummer. And in fact,
killer drummer.
Cruise, with me and Frank Bello had Todd play drums for us because we needed a drummer to do the altitudes and attitude thing. So it's like, you know, it's funny. The guys like Charlie Benante, an amazing drummer, but you should hear him play guitar. I mean, you get the guy playing. The guy knows every Rush song ever written. Like, you know,
that's awesome.
So amazing. It's funny when you pull guys out of their element and you get them switching instruments and playing in different settings. It's, you know, there's a lot of talent in our little neighborhood, you know.
No doubt. I think Charlie played a lot of guitar on one of the Anthrax albums when they lost a guitar player and he just filled in, and it was like crazy great. And Jason Bieler has Todd on his new record
playing drums.
Playing drums. You know, you see Todd LaTorre and you think, wow, you're gonna hear, you know, that Queensrÿche like vocal.
And that's another tie-in because David's also on that album, and I'm singing background on the Bieler record. So it's one little incestuous club.
It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool.
And Jason is, I call him the Frank Zappa of our lifetime right now. He's just such a lunatic. Funny, my God, you sit in a room with that guy. He is so dry. He will have you on the floor just rolling, man. He's just the funniest guy, man. He's
clever, and it's the clever, sharp wit. That's I love that man.
Oh man, it's just too cool. I talked to him probably a month ago now, and you know, I expected him to be like nothing but funny. You know what I mean? Like, does he have a serious bone in his body?
He drives people crazy with that. It's like, can't the guy just stop for 1 second? Like, no.
He is.
It was great. It was a good time. And you're getting ready to tour with him, right, Jeff?
We're gonna do some stuff towards the end of the year. There's a lot of things that got canceled. I mean, everything got canceled, of course. But we've been hesitant in rebooking things, and so we found a little pocket of things that we feel good that they're going to be able to go through. And I think in October, as things keep reopening, as long as as long as we don't have any crazy resurgence of this COVID thing, we can start looking forward to things opening back up and shows and eventually tours.
Yeah. I saw Reggie's there and I was like, oh, I got to go to that one. I missed the last time. So hopefully I'll see you there. And
absolutely.
Any touring on this? You think if it's open and everything?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're we've got, obviously we're mixing. We've got back end business, logistics and things we're getting together on it. But as with a lot of this stuff, as the world opens up, then we can start to get serious about picking dates. And it's one of these things where there's no, we're going to hit the road in October, and it's like
right.
Everything shuts down again in October. Then it's just it's kind of a false alarm, and you don't want to be the boy who cried wolf with something new like this. You kind of got one shot to really do it right, and so everybody feels good about sizing it up. And again, like I said, we're just getting the mixes together now, and it's a fun, exciting period right now. So.
And in general, that you have to go where there's a demand. If there's a demand for this, of course we absolutely want to do it, but we're not going to force it. We're not going to say, there's so many times I announce dates. There's one show in Houston and one show in New Orleans, and people are like, well, how come you're not playing Austin? Why don't you book Dallas? Why don't you book Baton Rouge? Like, because if there's no demand for it, I can't force a gig. I'm not going to play one show, sold out, and then the next night's 8 people. You got to go where the demand is. So in general, we're going to be smart about it. And when and if there's a demand for it, of course, we'll find windows and pockets of time where we can all do it. And that's exactly what we have in mind for this.
That's cool. That's cool.
Hey, Scott, listen, brother, I got to get jumping here. We got some mixes to listen to. So I got a couple of things to move on to, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, man.
We'll
Absolutely. Yeah, let's wrap it up, man.
I see your cat he's getting feisty back.
Yep.
But cool. Yeah, good chatting with you, man. Thanks.
Man.
Thanks for giving us some love, and appreciate you checking in with us here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I hope to see you on tour with it, and we'll do it again.
And more importantly, thanks for wearing that shirt. What a great shirt. What a great band.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool.
See you guys.
See you soon.
All right.
Yep. See you.
Take care, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.